I was the 5th woman in Victoria to be diagnosed. I was the 12th in Australia.
Kaposi sarcoma, it was a visual.
That's stupid to have contracted
In
HIV.
1987, 200 men were tested over a couple of workshops, and 90% of those young men tested for a thing called GRID.
Gang-related infectious disease. GRID.
Screaming in my head at God or whoever is up there. How can you bring me someone that makes me feel like this, Kath?
Stigma.
It's really useful for a lot of people to try and
I
control
hate myself
other
for that reaction, because I react the same way people in my hometown.
Oh, well, you're very promiscuous, so therefore you must have HIV. Otherwise, if I told them that I do have HIV...
She was my best friend.
I took my pill! I ended up going to teach English and volunteer in Mozambique, and at the end of that, I went on a bus trip from a town in Tanzania to a town in Kenya. And I sat next to this man on the bus and we were having a nice old chat. And it's a long journey, 10 hours, so we did sit in silence for a bit, and then he sort of turned to me about halfway through in this hushed tone and he said, "Do you know anything about HIV? I don't think we're ever going to get rid of stigma. Because primarily, stigma is really useful for a lot of people to try and control other people. People use it all the time, whether it's governments or public health specialists. People deliberately use stigma to marginalise other people or to demarcate what isn't acceptable in behaviour. What I am most familiar with around HIV over the last 10 years is that by actually naming stigma as one of the most enduring and significant barriers to progress around HIV, we're giving people a forum to talk about it, to identify it, and to collectively try to strategise effective ways to overcome it.
I was having sex with anonymous people and their status wasn't always discussed. I took lots of loads from lots of guys who I didn't know. They were in the door, they dropped their load on me, and then off they'd go, and that was pretty much all I knew about them. I didn't tell the whole truth to the doctor at the consultation. I don't know, I was a bit embarrassed about just engaging in these reckless, unsafe sex practices. I can't blame the doctor. When I got the positive result after knowing, I don't know, just knowing something wasn't right, my lymph nodes were really, really swollen, especially in my groin. And, well, yeah, I'm a sweaty person at night, so if I was having night sweats, I didn't notice.
I was still living with my parents. That was my first thought, and then I thought, my father's going to kill me. Being from a European family and at that time very homophobic and being infected by a poof, I knew he had this image of being shot, and the headlines would read, "European father shoots girl infected by it." So I contemplated suicide. So I drove down to this secluded spot that I knew down the beach that in my mind would take a while for somebody to find me so that I could do what I had in my mind to do, which was basically car fumes, exhaust, etc. And I said, "Look, this is my situation. I've just been diagnosed. I don't know what to do, and if I don't get help, I'm going to suicide." And due to the counselling I got then, I realised that I wasn't going to die in the next 24 hours, and there was help at hand.
They had a copy of my registration form. On the evening news, they showed my name, my number, my address, and my registration form. It said, "Please note, this player is HIV positive." They showed that on the evening news.
I don't think I've particularly experienced the harsh end of stigma. Actually, to be completely honest, I don't think anyone's ever made me feel particularly bad about being positive. I think I've made myself feel bad.
I try not to let it define me.
I think one of the saddest things for me is seeing how much stigma exists in our own community. And I think in some ways, stigma from outside, you can understand it a bit more, and you can rally against it a bit more. But when it's your own community, I think it's very hard. And I think it's hard for people who are diagnosed when their own community stigmatises them to the point where they feel like they can't really talk about it. They feel like they can't be open about it.